Hello, good morning, everyone. We're going to give start. If more people are connecting, we are going to start anyways. We already gave 5 minutes, and as you know, we have a tight schedule as our speakers. Good morning. My name is Jade Connolly, and together with my colleague Alejandro Rodenas, we're pleased to welcome you to the 16th meeting of the Smart Heritage Cities Working Group. From recognition to action, engaging citizens in the future of Smart Heritage 2.0. Today, we will bring together two STEAM experts to share their insights and strategies on engaging citizens and preserving cultural heritage. This is the second event in our two-part series, which focuses on award opportunities promoting sustainable, inclusive, and efficient citizen involvement in cultural heritage. Let's begin with a brief introduction of today's distinguished speakers and their contributions to cultural heritage. Our first speaker is Mrs. Halome Jamburia. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Dr. Salome is a respected professional in cultural heritage and the current chair of European Heritage Days at the Council of Europe. Salome has over 10 years of experience working with various national and international heritage organizations. She has held roles with UNESCO, ICOMOS, ICSID, and the Council of Europe, among others, and has contributed significantly to the publication of key documents, including the Sustainable Heritage Brochure for the 2022 European Heritage Days. She also serves as a national focal point for the UNESCO World Heritage Convention and brings a wealth of experience in managing cultural projects at the Ministry of Culture in Georgia. She presents today encouraging community involvement and the exploration and enhancement of heritage. In her presentation, she will share with us the initiatives of the European Heritage Days, a widely celebrated event across Europe that brings communities together to explore and cherish our collective heritage. Mrs. Salome, thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for this warm introduction and welcome. It is a privilege to participate in this two-part conference series, From Recognition to Action, Engaging Citizens in the Future of Smart Heritage, as part of the 16th meeting of the Smart Heritage Working Group at EURETA. In my role as chair of European Heritage Days, I'm pleased to present an overview of the program, including its activities and awards, and discuss how we foster community engagement and exploration in the enhancement of community involvement in the exploration and enhancement of the European heritage. You probably, my slide is not working, is it?
It's working. Yes, we can see your screen.
I need to go to the second slide, but it doesn't allow me, I'm sorry. Yes, excuse me. You probably heard of the European Heritage Days, the most widely celebrated participatory cultural event held annually from the end of August until October in the 48 signatory state parties of the European Cultural Convention. During this occasion, as was mentioned, a wide array of heritage sites opened their doors to the public, offering complimentary access to these cultural landmarks and diverse inclusive activities. The initiative was launched in 1985 by the Council of Europe, and in 1999 it was joined by the European Commission to create the joint action, which has continued up to the present day. Under the umbrella of EHD, more than 70,000 events across the continent bring people together, highlight the European dimension and the value of our common cultural heritage. They promote inclusiveness and foster creativity and imagination. EHD events represent a unique example of a grassroots initiative which are organized and shared by tens of millions of people. Each year, EHD events are focused on a common theme previously selected by the General Assembly of the national coordinators of the participating countries. Architectural heritage, the theme of the European Heritage Days in 2025, celebrates 50 years from adoption of the Charter of Architectural Heritage in 1975. and offers the opportunity to discover and admire the built heritage, its multiple old and new uses. Since its inception, the European Heritage Days have experienced remarkable growth and evolution. This is evident not only in the increasing number of participating countries and cultural heritage events organized each year, but also in their role in fostering cultural networks that span across Europe. In recent years, the European Heritage Days have shifted their focus to community heritage. This shift underscores the extraordinary significance of a common vision to protect, promote, and enhance our shared heritage and common European values. By emphasizing our shared values, the event fosters a sense of connection and belonging among the European community. This focus has allowed the program to highlight the crucial role of individuals in cultural heritage and the significant work communities are undertaking on local, regional, national, and international levels. It is with this aim of recognizing the role of people within the framework of European Heritage Days that the Council of Europe, European Commission, and the network of EHD national coordinators, which I represent, have decided to set up the Call for European Heritage Day Stories. The Call for European Heritage Day Stories was launched as one of the key initiatives within the 2018 European Year of Cultural Heritage, and now it is in its 6th edition. I just wanted to make sure that if the screen is okay, right? Yeah. So this initiative,
Yes, it's okay.
Thank you very much for confirming. This initiative aims to highlight the stories behind EHD events and to give a voice to the passionate individuals, organizations, and associations who wish to share their stories. Initiative intends to identify European dimension of heritage sites and heritage works undertaken by communities in Europe. It refers to past or existing stories, to call like that, of European heritage communities would like to share and potentially develop into a specific project to further contribute to their communities. To be eligible to apply for the competitive award procedure for a grant up to €10,000, a maximum of one project proposal per community should be submitted along with story. The call consists of two parts, the call for European Heritage Day stories and the two-stage grant application procedure, which involves pre-selection and selection stages. All of the eligible stories were published on the EHD website and promoted as European Heritage Day stories. However, the projects submitted alongside the stories for funding undergo the two-stage evaluation phase, which I've mentioned. The EHD Secretariat carries out selection phases with assistance from two international experts appointed by the Council of Europe and the European Commission. To provide a clear picture of the types of projects we fund, I will briefly outline the criteria for both the pre-selection and selection phases. The pre-selection phase, pre-selection of the project proposals is based on the following criteria. Well, first, submission of an informative and interesting, well-written story. Second, European dimension of the story and project idea and to what extent it can serve as an example of good practice for other communities and countries. Linkage of the story and accompanying project idea with the European Heritage Day's priorities of diversity, education, community participation and engagement, environmental protection, gender equality, or youth orientation. Fourth, originality and creativity of the project idea. Fifth, feasibility of the project idea to be completed within a clearly defined time frame and within the maximum grant allocation available. Six, potential of the proposed project to have positive outcomes for the community. And additionally, one of the following criteria is being considered as an added benefit. First, it is the long-term potential of the project, sustainability. Second, cross-frontier dimension of the project. And the third, inclusion of vulnerable and minority groups, young people and children. As for the final selection stage. The project proposals are evaluated on a slightly different criteria. Well, submission of an informative and interesting, well-written story again, maximum 10 points. Second, quality of the project proposal. Is the project thoroughly planned, and does the applicant appear to be able to deliver the proposed project within the necessary time frame in line with the budget breakdown, which is maximum 10 points. Third, linkage of the project proposal with the European Heritage Days priorities of diversity, education, community engagement, and youth orientation. European dimension of the project proposal, again, 10 points. Fifth, quality of the sustainability of the expected results and sustainability of the project. Six, outcomes of the project for the community, including long-term sustainability and benefits. Seventh, potential for the project to enable the community at both local and European levels to engage with the heritage in new and improved ways. And the last one, budget breakdown, eligibility of costs, and appropriate use of grant funds. In 2024, the top 16 project ideas were invited to submit detailed projects and budgets for the next stage of the grant award procedures. In the end, the 8 highest ranking eligible proposals received grants of 10,000 euros each. The implementation period for these projects ran from August 2025 to March 2025. August 2024 to March 2025. For more information on awarded projects, please visit the EHD web page or links provided in my PowerPoint presentation. Well, another activity of EHD is Young European Heritage Makers competition, oriented towards children and young people specifically. The competition encourages them to dwell into their local surroundings, discover interesting parts of their heritage, uncover historical narratives, and creatively share their findings. With a focus on the 2024 common theme, Heritage of Roots, Networks and Connections, this year's participants are invited to explore how Europe's interconnected past has shaped its present, fostering a deeper appreciation for our continent's diverse cultural heritage. Any group of young people or individuals can, under the age 18, from participating countries can join the competition. Entries are accepted in 2 age categories, 6 to 11 and 11 to 17 years. Within this European Heritage Makers competition, we encourage teachers, youth leaders, and professionals working in the heritage organizations such as museums and libraries who are legally permitted to work with children in their respective countries to act as facilitators. They can organize events for selected age groups under the theme European Heritage Makers. This could include activities like community events, workshops, treasure hunts, or visits to local heritage sites. The goal is to support young participants on their journey of discovery. After this discovery, the young people can present their findings either through the short video, a photo, a painting, or another visual medium accompanied by a brief description. The work shall be submitted to the European Heritage Days website. We encourage facilitators to pose questions but do not instruct the young people. Questions can be like, what does heritage mean to you? What do you know about heritage, European heritage? What story of Europe can you see in the heritage around you? What is the most interesting feature of your local heritage? And how can you present the story in pictures or words? The competition offers exciting rewards at both national and European levels. Nationally, the top 5 entries from each category will receive special goodie bags and certificates. On the European stage, winners in the 11-17 years category will be invited to Strasbourg, where their work will be showcased in a special exhibition. For example, last month, 5 groups of young heritage enthusiasts from Armenia, Montenegro, Slovenia, Spain, and Ukraine, who won the 2023 Young European Heritage Makers competition, were awarded a special two-day visit to Strasbourg on September 27 and 28. This exciting trip allowed them to explore important European institutions and landmarks while participating in creative workshops. These activities not only celebrated their achievements, but also promoted a deeper understanding of European cultural heritage. We look forward to seeing these young heritage ambassadors continuing playing a vital role in keeping our shared heritage vibrant for future generations. Thank you for your attention.
Jade, you're mute. But thank you, Salome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Salome, for sharing these inspiring activities that bring citizens closer to their heritage through active participation. Now to
Okay,
Alejandra.
Yes. So next, we are pleased to welcome Mrs. Natalia Shelahowska, President and co-founder of the Research and Animation Association of Flaneur, with an extensive experience organizing large-scale cultural events. Natalia has collaborated with NGOs across Central Europe and spearheaded various community projects. Recently, she was recognized with awards for her innovative work, including RDK competition and the Impulsus Culturi Award for her A on Art cultural animation project in Warsaw. Natalia's presentation, The Lost Art of Mosaics, reviving the cultural heritage of Warsaw through art and community engagement, will highlight her association work in uncovering and revitalizing the hidden heritage of Warsaw. Natalia, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. I would like to present our project, Eye on Art, which main activity was to discover the lost art of mosaics. And I just need one moment to find the presentation so I can share it with you here. 1 second, it should be fine. Right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Perfect. Yes, we can see it now.
So once again, my name is Natalia Szelahowska, and I run Research and Cultural Animation Association Flaneur. It's a very long name, but the idea is quite simple. Our mission is that the culture brings people together, and that's why we bring people with culture. So as flaneurs, as the idea of who is a flaneur, it's an archetype of 19th century observer, researcher, urban city lover. And we would like to bring back the idea of this flaneur to Warsaw to discover places that very often are neglected or not seen or forgotten, and to put eye on them, and also to be close to citizens, be close to people, discuss with them stuff, and through our research to develop projects which are based on culture, art, and creative tools. So this picture shows our first project in 2013 in one of the districts of Warsaw, where culture is being linked to, for example, getting a book from the library or going to a movie. So after realizing the potential of the district, but also how it's needed to give an extra push to citizens we started to developing more and more projects, and we started to interfere with the both public spaces, but also places which are very often perceived as close to the citizens. So you can see here 4 pictures presenting Warsaw. The first one with a huge painting is a bank office to which we invited our community because they have a really great collection of modern art. And there is a space of a post-industrial place where we run a short diagnosis related to audience development. And below you can see a historical place, which now is a hotel. It used to be a palace, and we organized an event to which we welcomed more than 35 people who wanted to learn about its history, which, of course, during the last 100 years changed a lot. The final picture, you can see the panorama of Warsaw. We invited our community to join us on a cruise on the Vistula River to show a completely different perspective of how Warsaw looks like. So those are a couple of examples how we try to show the rich history and heritage related to Warsaw. But we also are not afraid of more difficult places. So a bit blurry picture is from 2015 when we organized a film screening and more than 120 people came. It was the first time that something like that happened in this neighborhood, and we realized that culture is really needed. We then started organizing more of those kind of activities. And what you can see here, those are other examples like walks in the neighborhoods with discovering the history, the performances, or discussions with experts, which are very often not in the historical part of the city, but in the Praga Południe, which is a district on the other side of the river, which is much less connected to the culture. That's why we're there showing the heritage. And it all started with this person. I remember that I was talking to Małgorzata Szalachowska, who's a curator of our Eye on Art project. And we were talking how we can use our skills and our association to change something like really tangible in the district. And she came up with the idea that she heard about an artist that could be a great lead for our project. And his name is Zbigniew Brodowski. If you would like to learn more about him, I really recommend to connect with Małgorzata, who is a really great storyteller and can tell you a lot of details. For now, I will just say that he was born in 1927. He lived for most of his life in Praga Południe, so he was our neighbor, and he started his career in 50s, meaning it was the very rapid rebuildment or time when Warsaw was being rebuilt after Second World War. Huge changes, a lot of investments, and especially important one was the rebuilding the historical part of Warsaw. He got involved into the main team, was responsible for creating decorations on the buildings which were part of the new city. You can see here on this picture one of his first artworks. It's now part of the UNESCO site in the Warsaw New Town, and you can go there anytime. He was part of the Zofia Czarnocka-Kowalska team, where he learned the technique. You can also see in the upper part how big those kind of works are. how monumental, how incredibly detailed, and how much of physical work is there. Because first you have to put it on the flat place, and then you have to transmit it to the wall. So you can see his picture here on the, there is also his piece of art, one of the biggest one, and you can see the scale of this mosaic. Then the final picture is the details of glasswork, and it showed the beauty, how multi-dimensional it is if you can come closer and see how precise it has to be done. So he lived in very interesting times during the socialist era, where art was supposed to be in public spaces, was supposed to be visible, was supposed to bring joy, but also educate society. Thanks to that, mosaics were alive. In 90s, it all started to change because of the changes in the political system. Most of them were neglected, a lot of them were destroyed. And that's why we started our project, to save what is still there, to promote the art, but also to open a public discussion with the community. So as a first step, we decided to join European Heritage Days, as it gives the greatest influence on what we can do, not on the local, but also on the European level. Then we started to involve community, organizing public walks, discussions, and also creating an archives. Finally, we realized that the estate where Zbigniew Brodowski lived used to be an art colony. There was more artists there, and starting with his name, we found so many interesting resources that it gives us more speed with developing our project further. So let me just show you this picture. It shows our first event. It was in 2022 in Publish Defense Holding. It's a private company to which we managed to get the invitation, and more than it was almost 40 people who participated. It was in the outskirts of Warsaw. It was hard to get there, and still a lot of people came, and we had a really amazing discussion about post-heritage, post-war heritage, showing how important to our community this kind of arts are to protect and to promote. You can see there the second and third generation of Brodowski family, because the art talents are being passed through the generations. So there is Dorota Brodowska and Maria Brodowska on the picture, also active artists with whom we're also working. The second European Heritage Days were also continuation of Brodowski showcase, and it was in the center of Warsaw. It was also quite impressive to see how many people show up and came to the event. If we have time, I will share the video. If not, I will send it in the chat. And this year we were invited to the conference of EHD coordinator meeting, where we presented our project, which gave us a lot of new connections and hope that we can develop our project further. What concerns Art Colony, we started with discovering those artists, and you can see a part of our website. We created an artistic website showing how many other artists used to live there. It's a very interesting anecdote behind, but I'm afraid I will have to share it other time. And we also wrote anthology. It was supposed to be a short e-publication. It came up 76 pages long of very basic information about only some of those artists. So there is still a lot of heritage to be discovered. And what we also try to do with our community is to take those stories, those materials, and take them into public spaces, but also to create them, like to write them through social media. So to get the most outreach that we can get through the Facebook or through the Instagram. So as you can see, we have some stories like a catchy name, Estate of Homeless Lovers. That was the first name of the youth housing estate where Zbigniew Brodowski used to live. We have 12 names of artists who used to live there. And we also have a website which was very popular among our community. And this year we celebrated an installing of 4 commemorative plaques at the places where those artists used to live. It was incredibly important because it was the first time that Urban Spatial Information System decided to agree to our request and put those plaques not on the names on the streets, but on the buildings where those artists used to live, making those art colony really a living place in the city. We also invited other artists to create an artistic program. So there was art performances, installations, concerts, other type of activities. And finally, we started to collaborate with Rzeszów, which is a town in the southern part of Poland. And it's famous because Zbigniew Brodowski created there his most monumental piece of art, so a mosaic, which is 100 square meters big. And hopefully with a collaboration with Rzeszów Monument Conservator, we will be able to bring to Rzeszów's community also the memory and the heritage of Philharmonie, on which there is a mosaic, but also we will be able to promote Zbigniew Brodowski and the lost art of mosaics further. Thank you. Oh, this is the final slide, but this is a very practical one. We just wanted to show how many actors or how many links there are within our projects that we are trying to run our activities, but also run our projects together with strong partnerships, but also through different kind of activities to make it more sustainable. And now, thank you.
Thank you so much, Natalia, for your presentation. It was quite interesting.
I would say beyond interesting. It's a pity we don't have the time for the 76 pages of the anthology. That will leave it as a homework for our attendees. So now we're going to go further for the Q&A session. If any of the participants or also if you don't feel like talking, you can put it in the chat. If you have any questions for our speakers, also thank you for leaving your contacts. If you would like to reach out to have access to the social media platforms from the organization Flaneur, please reach out to them. Also, the presentations were very interesting. If our public doesn't have any questions, then I will go for it with some questions for our speaker. I hope it's okay for both of them. Easy questions, just to, let's say, to go a bit more in depth. So
Maybe
first,
I can go
yes,
with a question for Salome.
sure.
Yeah. So, Salome, in your experience with European Heritage Days, what have been the most successful strategies for encouraging participation from younger generations?
Thank you for the question. Well, so far, all the European Heritage Days events involve the young generation. Like without them, the event doesn't really, uh, I mean, without them. But specifically for the European Heritage Day, European Heritage Makers Week um, is very popular in terms of young generation to encourage them in participating, as well as in EHT event itself and the event that is specifically organized within this competition, if this answers your question.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, maybe one for Natalia. So you, in your work with Flaneur, how have you found the community perception of their local heritage changes after participating in projects like IDON Art? Have you noticed any increase in the curiosity about this artist, or have they come back to you with more questions? What are their reactions after they participate?
Um, our target groups are very very vivid. So we have two, I would say, main target groups. One of them are what we call Varsavianists, so people who love Warsaw history and heritage and know a lot about them. So with them, we have discussions and meetings with experts, and we get a lot of feedback about arts and mosaics and works and how to get more information. We were shocked when we learned that in one of our meetings there was one of the most, let's say, famous influencers from the related to the heritage. We were introduced to this person, and it was just showing us how interesting it's to become a part of this community. So there is those are, I would say, quite active people who are very aware of what heritage is. And then there is a group of local inhabitants where we run our events, and for them it's quite often shocking that they have on the local level this kind of a heritage and histories about they are not aware. So we're trying there to build identity and to build a sense of pride from where they are from, and to show the heritage that is also part of what they can call their own. So there we have more of let's say, easy to reach kind of activities, because we also got the feedback that our program is quite ambitious and people have to think, which is probably a good thing, but not so often for them to be part of this kind of activities and culture.
Thank you so much. Indeed, but it's a great lesson that you specialize into these two different types of target groups that quite similar, quite different, but similar in sharing an interest in it for Warsaw. Okay, we have one question in the chat. It
Yes.
says, hello, one question for Solomon. With your background in international heritage organizations, what advice would you give to local communities aiming to gain international support or recognition for their heritage projects. So,
Thank you very much for this question. Well, I would advise the local community to focus on collaboration on multiple levels, like local, regional, national, and international, to focus on people-centered activity rather than a place or object oriented itself. And also to focus on links between heritage, history, and culture and their relevance today. To develop a vision of cultural heritage as a resource rather than an goal itself, and also to develop this vision of cultural cooperation as a value, to cooperate different sectors, like say education and culture. They have mutual, I think they should have mutual vision, so the cross border and cross sectoral collaboration would be very beneficial to any local communities, I would say.
perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope that we have representatives of other communities besides Flaneur. You're taking notes. Then the next one, I will go again with Natalia. Sorry, Natalia, if I make too many questions, but it was an interesting presentation. This is what happens when you do an interesting presentation. You get questions. So, and then I also have one for Salome. So for Natalia, as your team continues to uncover hidden heritage stories, how do you approach selecting which artists or pieces to focus on? You already talked to us about this future plan in collaboration with the region of Rivers. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, so I will abstain of pronouncing it incorrectly. But perhaps if we have a couple more minutes, you can talk to us a bit more about it and how can people participate or reach out to you in any case?
Well, starting with collaboration with Rzeszów, we hope that we can promote further Zbigniew Brodowski work and his mosaics. But as I mentioned, there are 12 names that we started to map in this neighborhood. So there's a huge potential that at least 4 of them are already quite well covered. We have contacted an author of biography of one of them, Teresa Kruszewska. She was an amazing furniture designer, not only furniture, but a designer, and she's famous for a couple of iconic pieces of art related to home decor and to very progressive solutions related to her era. But what we were also discussing was that this kind of public spaces and art in public spaces are quite similar in many countries from Central and Eastern Europe regarding history. So mosaics were often made not only in Poland, but also in Czech Republic, Slovakia, and in the southern part. And this is a very interesting link that we were hoping also to explore further if there is a chance and opportunities to do it this way.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Indeed, what we were talking about, cross-sectoral and cross-border collaboration, I think is a great opportunity, and we look forward to see how this project develops. I think Alejandro has one question for Salome, and with that,
Yes.
we can close with Mrs. Natalia's video. What do you think?
Okay, perfect. So, Salome, you mentioned the importance of sustainability in heritage preservation. How does the European Heritage Days program incorporate sustainability into the awards and initiatives?
Thank you very much. Well, at European Heritage Days, we encourage principles of sustainable development where resources can be developed from within. And we also encourage sustaining heritage assets and cultural practices while respecting nature. Also, when organizing the event itself, we encourage organizing them in a way to have less impact on environments and surrounding areas. In the logistical sense as well, where a simple example would be like using reusable cups instead of plastic ones, for example. And considering cultural heritage as the value that this can be a topic for sustainable and inclusive governance is also another aspect in terms of sustainability, which we would like to foster and encourage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Indeed, we encourage everyone to maybe have a look to the document Sustainable Heritage brochure for the 2022 European Heritage Days that Ms. Salome prepared. So you can look further on into how to incorporate sustainable wage for keeping or the preservation of heritage. We have one message here in the chat that says that one of the event participants said after the Artists for Artists concert, "You did a great job with this heritage plaques. We all pass away, but memory of the art colony will live in the future." Indeed, it's a lovely initiative for the preservation of these plaques, and we hope that with more of this open to the side of the public to encourage people to increase their curiosity and to make the questions. Also, the homeless lovers stories. I see something very interesting. I can imagine the amount of questions you have with a topic, with a title like that. So now to close, we invite Mrs. Natalia to share the video of the event. And we're closing also the Q&A questions. If you have more questions, we will share the videos of these presentations in our social platforms. We thank once more our marvelous speakers. This was very interesting presentations, and we encourage you. We want to see many, many applications in the European Heritage Days. And we also want to see many, many collaborations with the organization of FLINR. So, Ms. Natalia, the floor is yours, and thank you once more for all the attendees.
Thank you. So I will share my screen one more time. This is a very short video which shows the second event that we organized related to European Heritage Days. It was showing also the second mosaic of Zbigniew Brodowski. I apologize, it's only in Polish, but it shows the artwork, so I hope it will give you the sense of how it looks like. Right.
I think it's sharing without sound.
Let me just check then. Is it better now?
Yes, we can see the images, but the video has no sound. But again,
no.
let's in order to maybe keep it
Right, because okay.
Maybe you can explain us since the video doesn't have any background, but we can listen to you.
If I hear the sound, for me it's a bit
Ah,
confusing. We've met in a former Kino Bajka, which is Cinema Bajka. A part of the decoration was Zbigniew Brodowski mosaics, and it ran. There's my daughter there. It went undergo a huge renovation around 10 years ago, meaning mosaics had to be put in the list of the Conservator of Monuments to protect them. Otherwise, they would be demolished because the new design looks absolutely different. There you can see this point was where Brodowski used to live. It was this neighborhood. And here is the actual look, how modern and old decor are being put there in one place. And this is the mosaic of Brodowski from 61. And it was in the foyer. So there are a couple of pieces of words in 3 or 4 parts of the foyer. It was a ceramic. It is a ceramic mosaic, so it's a bit different technique. And here is a main part. So it's a theater now. They run a regular activities, however, it's a private company. I need to Małgorzata to check on that. We invited an expert, Ewa Kalnoj-Jakowska, who's an urbanist, and she was telling how the district changed since the Warsaw was destroyed in this part, and it was rebuilt in the 50s, gaining a totally new look. And the current cinema before, like the before cinema, now theater, was implemented in the architecture of the district. I think there was also interesting that all of the participants of the event stayed for the discussion, which was about how to protect heritage when the definition of places is changing. There are new ways to renovate places, but there are still elements from the past, and how to create a new version, a new design with okay, I'm sorry, but there is this movie how to create a new design with respect to what was there before. And the only thing I will say that there was the kino or the cinema which was there before was famous that it was showing Polish classical movies. So it had its own profile and it was famous for that. I wasn't ready that I should do the introductions on that way.
It was very interesting. Thank you. We appreciate it more because in Polish, maybe the majority of us, we wouldn't have understood. So thank you so much for your presentation. Thank you for all the attendees. And as I said previously, we had a marvelous time. Please look forward to the video recordings in our platforms and YouTube as well. And I can just wish you to have a nice day and a nice rest of the week.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.